Hello, and welcome to Getting Real with Paula. My name is Paula Alphonse, and tonight I have with me author Alvina Ryan, and we're going to talk about purpose, passion, and praise. Aside from having already three books under her belt, Alvina is also a businesswoman for over 25 years. So, one thing to remember through this conversation is that everything that Alvina does is always about empowering, inspiring, and creating an impactful legacy. So, take a seat, settle down, and let's bring Alvina into the conversation.
Hello.
Good evening.
Hello, good evening. How are you?
I'm doing good. So happy to have you on Getting Real with Paula.
I am so blessed and happy to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me. I think this will be a great opportunity, and I'm humbled. Thank you for choosing me. Thank you.
My pleasure. Think of it as a mutual enjoyment of this conversation. I love speaking with people. I love understanding the world from other people's eyes. So this is, to me, exciting. So if I had to ask you to introduce yourself using 5 words or a handful of words, could be a little more than 5, what would those words be?
Well, authentic.
Mhm.
So I don't like fake. What you see is what you get. So that would be definitely one of my words. Leader. So most people know me as someone who's either I can take charge, or even if I'm in the background, I will organize and do the charge that way. So I could be a strong leader and I could be a silent leader.
Mhm.
A visionary, I'm always dreaming, and it's not small dreams. They're big dreams. And I'm always one step ahead. Like in my industry, I was always doing things before anybody else was doing it. So visionary would definitely be one of those words. This year, I adopted the word impactful. So I love impact. I love when I do something and there's a song that we sing, it only takes a spark to get a fire going. So I love that, if I start something, someone else can take that torch and take it somewhere else. So impactful is one of my words. And the last word, non-negotiable. So for myself, I have some non-negotiables when it comes to my health, when it comes to exercise. Like, these are my core values. So nobody can shake those. When I have something and I've decided that it's important to me, I have my non-negotiables. So those would be my five impactful words.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I like that. I know it takes some people a bit by surprise because we're not accustomed to introducing ourselves this way. We tend to say either I'm a mom, I'm a this, I'm a that. You say everything that you do, but very seldom,
Mm.
those things that to me also matter. If I could ask you, would you mind sharing with us your career path and what ended up and how you ended up, should I say, into entrepreneurship? Because 25 years, you still look awfully young, but 25 years is still a good chunk of time.
Yes. Well, I just feel like I was built to be an entrepreneur. Just what I said, as a visionary, I was always thinking a step ahead. I had business skills in me from a young age. And, until recently, I never worked for anyone else. Like I always had maybe a part-time job through school, but nothing full-time again. So my first part in entrepreneurship started with massage therapy. So for those of you who do not know, I have 30 years of experience as a massage therapist. So that journey was important because I was working part-time in a clinic. I was working part-time in a school. I ended up being a director at that school. At the same time, I was a therapist for the Montreal Alouettes.
Mhm.
I did that for 15 years. And I was also, running in athletic therapy, you have to be associated with teams. So I also had local teams that I was the therapist for at the same time. And then from massage therapy and those types of settings, I also opened my own personal brands in different areas in the Montreal area. So I had 3 clinics. And then I closed my clinics to manage a mega spa, like a high-end spa in downtown Montreal. And that was a journey because, sometimes it's good to be the owner, but then sometimes you want the experience that you could manage something for someone else and be successful. And that was all purposeful again, in a sense, because all the way through, I was training therapists.
Mhm.
So because I was teaching in the schools, I would also give a lot of conferences and speeches. And then, you're telling spa owners how to run a practice, but I only had my example,
Mhm.
my clinics. So then when I went to work for someone else at their clinic, then I also had 5 years of experience in that. So it
Mhm.
just made my speeches more impactful because I tested all the theories
Mhm.
in someone else's business, right? And then from that, I became a financial advisor, believe it or not. And everybody's like, what? Like, you were on a massage path. Where did this come from? So, anyway, very special time in my life. And I went into it to help women. So, I
Mhm.
really wanted to help women learn about money. So, I did 5 years in that. And then I started teaching CPR as well. And I started book writing. So book
Mm.
writing is really new. This is a 2020, 2021 thing. So it's really new. But even in that, I'm writing my own books, with the help of others. And then I formed a scholarship for women.
Ah.
And then I started a video podcast. I have my own women empowerment group. And who knows what I'll be doing next. So, the journey in entrepreneurship, it's layered, but it's
Mhm.
all flowing. It's all going the right way. So,
And I love all you given as example because some people are under the impression that your journey is meant to be linear. but in a lot of context, you find yourself doing multiple things. And that's how you identify which are those things that you're really good at, which are those things you want to do more of.
Right.
And maybe other things is just like, yeah, I've been there, done that, time to go. And that's okay,
Mm,
because this is, to me, this is what keeps life exciting.
yes.
So if I never step out of my comfort zone, then, you know, becomes a bit of a routine. So to me, you can tell by my speech, I have a hard time with routines. So I do set a few of them, but it's not one of those where you would say, for the next 20 years, this is what I will do. It's just like, I don't know what I'll do next month. I don't remember what I've done a week ago. So this is, everyone, to everyone its own.
Yeah.
So you just released your third book. Can you walk us through a bit about your writing journey and the connection thread throughout? Because there's three books. I'm sure there's a connection.
There's definitely a connection. And for me, like you said, I'm not linear, but I do like common themes, right?
Mhm.
So the first book is called I Pray on Purpose Because. And this one was all about prayer. It was published in November 2020.
Mhm.
And then, November, yeah, published in November of 2020. I started around March of 2020 writing this book.
Mhm.
So March of 2020 was just the time when everything was shutting down.
Yeah.
People were all depressed and, there was no hope. We didn't have any idea what was going on and
Mhm.
schools were closed and all that stuff. So in all of this noise, I decided to do something positive. And I asked a few friends in March if they'd like to start writing something. I had an idea for this book, and they all agreed. So I just got many different authors. I ended up with 58, including myself. And we put this beautiful compilation of prayers. And it was a really, really good experience because in it, people experienced God for another way.
Mhm.
People were becoming closer with God. People wanted a deeper relationship with God because we didn't really have any other outlets. And especially for people who are religious or whatever, that's where we were more aligning. But I'm telling you, this book, I didn't know where it was going to go. I thought it was just going to be Christians reading this book, but people who were showing up at my door, different religions, different cultures, they wanted the book. They wanted to know more about, how to pray. And it's just been such a blessing. And as I said before, many things developed out of this book,
Mhm.
like the scholarship and the podcast and speaking and coaching. So this is my baby. You know? This is my baby. It will never be, it would always be the best book
Mhm.
because of the fact that it's what started this whole thing,
Everything.
right?
Mhm.
So from there, just like I told you with the massage experience where I went to work for someone else, I went to write in someone else's book project. And that was around May of 20, now we're talking about 2021.
Mhm.
So May 2021, I decided I'm going to write in someone else's book. And this is the book, Finding Joy in the Journey,
Mhm.
Volume 2. It was headed by Miss Vanessa, and it was a phenomenal experience. We're 90 authors in this one. And in July, so just a few months later, we became best-selling authors. So it was like, wow, like, that kind of
Mhm.
thing. So it was a really nice project, great experience working with other people, being on the other side, being a
Mhm.
co-author, knowing how things work. And I was also at the same time starting the third book, which is I Testify on Purpose Because. So this one was starting. So as you can see, I'm always layering. I'm not stopping. Like one thing
Mhm.
is starting, another thing is going, and then they eventually, fall off
Connect.
and
Mhm.
connect. So that one was starting and it's finished now and it's coming out any day.
Mhm, yeah.
So it's just been a great experience. Like in less than 1 year,
I know.
I've done all of this. 3 books, podcast, coaching, writing coach. Um, it's just been phenomenal. Speeches,
Mhm.
mentorship. So it's just been a phenomenal ride. And this book is all about testimonies.
Mhm.
Now, we all have a story to tell,
Yes.
and we really need probably a forum to either present the story.
Mhm.
And books is one of those great forums where your story will live on.
Absolutely.
So here I have 43 authors, including myself, and the stories are phenomenal. Like
Mhm.
there's a story about abuse, and there's a story about children being sick. There's a story about people who were supposed to be dead and they're still alive today. Like
Mhm.
myself personally, I wrote about when I was deaf. So I was deaf for a period of 7 months during my pregnancy, my second pregnancy. And as you can see, I'm not deaf anymore. So
No, that's good.
yes,
And was it connected to the pregnancy?
they said it was. I don't believe so, but that will be a story for another time.
Yes, yes, yes. No, but let's just say we don't want people to start connecting certain things and say, okay, I'm not having kids no more.
No,
But
no, no.
yeah,
It's not
yeah,
that. It's really specific. But
yes,
what was important in that is that I didn't accept that I was going to be deaf,
yes.
right? And there's stories in the book where people have told people, well, we're finished with you.
Mm-hmm.
Your health is no good. Just go home and pretty much, take care of yourself. There's nothing I can do for you.
Yeah.
But it's all here. You have to
In
decide,
between
right?
2 years, yes.
You have to decide this is not for you. This is not how it ends. This is not the destination, right?
Mhm.
So when you read the stories, they're just so impactful. I just can't tell you how excited I am. I can't wait for people to read these stories. It's just such a great book. And I'm anxious to share. I just want everybody to see the goodness, the faithfulness,
Mhm.
and how, he's so good to us. Like it's just, God is so good. So I'm just really happy about this book and where it's going to lead. So,
So and for me, as you say, it's just about opening the door for
mm,
conversations, and books have a way of doing that,
mhm,
and even more intensely when it's not just one story,
yes,
because I might not connect with one author or the way this story is told, but through the whole package of stories, there will be something that opens up a gate for me.
exactly.
Anyway, that's the way I see it. So collaboration project to me are number one. They work.
They work.
In one of our conversation, you mentioned you had 3 P's: purpose, passion, and praise. Can you elaborate a little on these?
Absolutely. So, first of all my favorite words start with the letter P, like prayer, phenomenal, present. I'm that person. I like words. So, every word that begins with the letter P, I have like a connection to it. But these 3 words is my new logo.
Mhm,
So, purpose, passion, praise. And the passion, I put it in the middle because it's the fire, right?
mhm,
So, as a therapist, I often massage people and they're always complaining about this and that and whatever and work. And, they're missing that passion maybe in their job or in their life. And I find the passion is what continues. It's the connection. It's
mhm.
makes you wake up in the morning. So I put that in the middle. And it's actually my favorite word. Passion is my favorite word in the whole wide world. Passion, passionate, anything that derives from that. So I put that in the middle. But before that, you know, I didn't wake up one day and say, I want to be a massage therapist.
Yep.
I started massaging and people were telling me, you should do this. You have a gift. Can you come to my house and massage my wife? Like, these are the things that I heard when I was with the Alouettes, right? The football team. And I was like, I didn't even think of doing that, but they gave me an idea. And then I was like, how do I get to do that? How do I get to go to your house? How do I get to charge that money? So they've started to like form that purpose. And luckily I was gifted at it. It's not, I don't think that's a secret. I mean, I don't think I would have lasted 30 years if I didn't have a gift. So I have a gift. And then I used that and infused it and really embraced it. Like, I really enjoyed it, actually. Like, not everybody enjoys what they do, but I actually enjoyed it from day one. Like, it didn't bother me to massage people's feet or their legs. And, some people frowned on it and thought, like, ooh, who would do that? That's disgusting. But that wasn't me. And I was young, but I liked it, So that's what you have to find. You have to find your purpose. So for me, I found my purpose in everything, in massage, in book writing. Even when I was training people about money, that was my purpose, to go out and educate people and tell them, to be good stewards of their money. And look, it helps me in my business because, if you're not good with the things that you have, you don't get more, right? So all of that, you really need to have purpose. It's very important. And then praise, well, everybody knows I don't hide it. I believe in God and all praise goes to him. So I had to put it there. But even beyond that, if you think about in your personal lives, you have to be thankful and you have to be grateful. When I finish a massage, people are always telling me, thank you. Thank you for what you did for me. You know what I mean? Thank you for relieving the pain. Like, I came in with X and I leave better, right? So the thankfulness, that's important to me. And I'm grateful for the opportunity that I could actually do that for people. Like, my favorite analogy of myself as a therapist is that I'm a bridge and I help you go from point A to point B. So what you can't do for yourself, I mean, it's very hard for you to massage your own back, but I can massage your back. And at a certain point, you're going to feel connected to your back again. And you're going to do the exercises and you're going to do this. And then you empowered yourself, right? You get to the point where you could take over and you could help in your treatment plan. So I'm just grateful for this opportunity that I could educate people and help them in their treatment journey in that way. And now as a writer, I mean, there were people in the first book that have their own books now. So I'm grateful that the door was open to me and someone took a chance on me. I have a publisher, the Devon Group. They took a chance on me. And then the door is now open for many other people to produce their book and to write their stories. And if they need a little help, I have a coaching program to accelerate all of that. So I'm just grateful for everything that's happening in my life. And again, all things are because God put this in alignment. So
some people would say that you're wearing a lot of hats. My question to you is, how do you juggle it all?
Well,
24 hours in a day.
Yes, but I manage mine pretty well. But what I have to say is that is other people's impression of me. So your impression of me or other people's impression of me is that I do a lot of things. But I don't have that real impression of myself. I just have a lot of interests. And I use my time wisely. It's not like I massage every day. I massage maybe 4 days a week, right? And so what do I do with the rest of the time? And I don't write every day, but I write 5 days a week. So, but everything is because I know where I'm going. I have a plan, right? I have a plan. I've laid it out. And, everybody thinks, like you said, it's linear.
It's not.
I am going in that direction, but there's a lot of this too.
And it is fine because that's how you find out what's what's the actual path you're meant to take, because sometimes the more obvious path might not be what you're meant to discover in that journey. So being aware of that, because I think we seem to think that we all live on, at least sometimes when people talk to me, they give me the impression that we're all on highways going into one direction, but
Mm-hmm.
most of us are not.
Right.
Highways, we only take them when we already know where we're going. You usually
Exactly.
don't get on a highway when you have no clue where you're going.
Exactly.
So anyway, this is my take.
No, well, it's a perfect analogy, and I really thank you for that. And as I said, like, you might find that I'm too busy, but the more important is if I find that I'm too busy, and I don't find that I'm too
That's
busy,
it.
so I'm okay.
Because only you know what
Exactly.
works for you and what doesn't.
Exactly.
What is the hardest lesson that you had to learn in your entrepreneurial journey?
So I was thinking about, there's a saying, fail to plan to
Hmm.
fail.
Yeah.
So even in Massage School, we wrote a business plan and we knew exactly, well, not exactly, but we knew we had a guide as to what
Mhm.
we're going to do with our business, whether we're going to do home massages, whether we're going to work in a clinic, how many hours, etc. So we had a plan. And what I found that I wasn't true to myself at certain instances is people would see that, for example, I was,
Oh.
and so I need you to join this group, a multi-level marketing group, and you're going to be selling these juices to the people. But I wasn't true to my plan because my plan
Mhm.
never had any juice in it. My plan only had how I was going to work the business. And so I would try these things, but they would never work. And it's because it
Mhm.
was never in my plan. So that would be my word of caution to anybody who's starting a business, because a lot of people want to sway you left and right.
Mhm.
They call for your publicity dollars, for example, and they ask you, oh, do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? But you have to decide, is this
Mhm.
important? Is it impactful? Is it
Mhm.
going to improve? Is it going to help you go to the next level? And in book writing, it would be the same thing. If you have a plan and you know where you're going to go, when people ask you if you want to do this or that, you have to say no sometimes.
Mhm.
You have to say, listen to it because you never know. But at the same time, stick more to your plan. And if you really want to integrate it, then write it into your plan. Change your plan, right?
Mhm.
Don't just leave it as something that could be done, right?
I totally, totally, totally agree. And I think there's this idea out there that diversification is a way to expand your brand. But the idea is if you don't have a plan and you don't know what your brand is about, you could be about anything. And then, which means you no longer have a brand. So,
Exactly.
anyway, so it to me goes definitely with the plan.
Yeah.
In in terms of you being a business woman, and I know you've mentioned in the beginning of the conversation about the non-negotiable.
Mm.
I am all about boundaries. So I'm gonna ask you, what are some of the boundaries that you have implemented in either your personal or your professional life that have created the most space for you?
So I'm going to go on the idea that I just said, and learning to say no would be one of the boundaries.
Mhm.
So you have to know when it's appropriate to say no, because I am the person that says yes and figures it out later sometimes, which gives me lots of opportunity. But at the same time, I have to know where it's appropriate not to go that route.
Mhm.
So that would be one. And for myself, how do I manage my boundaries? I would use self care as probably the
Mhm.
best example. So, say burnout is 10 on 10.
Mhm.
So, your upper limit should be 9 on 10. For myself, I would set an upper limit for Alvina at 7 on 10.
Mhm.
So I don't think I'd be a good person that burns out. I would be a bad example to my clients, everything. So
Mhm.
I don't want to be anywhere near 10 on 10. I don't
Yeah.
even want to be near 9 on 10. So when I notice that something is off around 7 on 10, I say, okay, I'm blocking off my schedule. I'm going
Yeah.
to take care of me. And the first week might be just like sleeping, because normally that's the first sign. I feel tired. I'm restless. I get out of my habits. So first thing would be like more sleep, more reading for pleasure, because I read a lot. I've always read a lot, but I read things like that are in my trade or in my genre and those kind of things. So I would read totally for pleasure, nothing, you know, just
Mhm.
for fun. And then the second week I would do all like, and also at the first week I would also do more exercise,
Mhm.
more protein shakes, those kind of things.
Mhm.
I might even fast. So I would really be taking care of my skin, my body, my health, my mental health. That would be my first week. And the second week would be all about building. So I would be taking courses, or I would be researching. And you would think that's work, but it's the necessary work that I never had time to do when I'm in my normal routine.
Mhm.
So that week, I'm primed. I don't know if you
Mhm.
listen to Tony Robbins, but he has
Mhm.
these exercises of how to prime yourself up. So I could prime myself up to be the best I could be on my own and outside of my normal routine. And then when I come back after those 2 weeks, I'm on fire. So I'm
Okay.
ready to help, I'm ready to serve, I'm ready to work. So that's how I take care of me.
And I love the fact that you have a plan for that as well. Because when I'm thinking about whether it's self care or whether it's learning, I tend to be the individual who, when it comes to learning, everything is of interest. So I have to curb my interest because otherwise I get distracted. But
Mhm,
the self care for me has to be done every day. So
mhm,
there are I start my days in most situation the same way, which is first speak to my God,
mhm,
then go walk with the dog, and very early when there's not a lot of people, because I'm still in that introspective mode. And then after that, I can welcome the world into my reality. Because if I don't do that, I find that I get rushed through the day and I'm not feeling as efficient. So we all have different things. I would have never in my mind, and this is again, we all say we know ourselves, and we also have to be aware that my way of doing might not be somebody else's way of doing. Uh, to me, putting a plan for 2 weeks feels like, oh, that's strict. Well, someone else, it's like that's the way it works for me. And that's the part about self care. It's this sense where we each have to figure out what that means on a daily basis. And as
exactly.
you say, burnout is huge. Burnout is huge. And that was before COVID. So let's just say with the pandemic, I don't think it went down. The stress level for a lot of people have gone up. And
Mhm,
if you don't pay attention, it's easy to lose yourself and you react too late. And now you health wise, the curve is a lot higher to get back on the road.
right.
So another question I'm really interested in, and this is with respect to your 25 years as a businesswoman. What would be your top three nuggets for someone interested in building their dream idea into reality? Be it writing or something else, whatever it is. How does someone get into that thought process?
Well, first you have to invest
Mhm.
into yourself.
Okay.
So a lot of people just see the outside. They just see, okay, the finished product, the book,
Mhm.
but they don't see the hours, the 2 years of studies prior to writing a book, that you were taking
Mhm.
little courses, learning how to get on Amazon, doing all the little necessary things so that you would be ready. So you really have to invest in yourself. Sometimes, whatever you're pursuing, you might want to fast track it. You don't want to make all the errors that someone else did. And it might be worth it to pay someone to fast track. So do what's right for you, but invest in yourself, whether it's time or money. Make sure that you do the work, because the finished product is the result of hard work. It's not just like a given. It's not like it just appeared. Some people make it look easy.
Yeah.
But the road, wasn't always easy. So that would be one nugget. I love the word that start with P, so I'm going to say purpose. So you really need to find your purpose. I think that is so essential. Like, there are so many people, I've talked to teenagers recently, and they don't know what they want to. I find that sad. And I mean, it's normal in certain parts of their journey, but I would accept it more from a teenager than I'm hearing adults say the same thing. They don't know what their purpose is. They don't know what they're doing. So again, purpose is so important. It's going to guide you in every aspect of your life. And everybody's purpose is going to look different. So you're not supposed to compare. Like, not everybody is going to be the superstar. Some people are going to be in the background making the superstars big. But as long as you're happy, that second book was about joy. So you have to find joy in everything you do. So you have to make sure whatever you're doing, I could tell you what I told you before about massage. It didn't bother me. I am happy massaging. I am happy serving. And it makes me a better therapist. I'm happy teaching, right? I'm happy teaching you what I know. And I think that you might surpass me. And I'm not feeling like away, thinking that, hey, if you get bigger than me. No, it's my job to teach you properly. So I hope that you do better than me, right? So make sure you find your purpose. Make sure you're passionate about it. And then find that joy. Like, that joy is so important. Like, it just comes from the inside.
Yeah.
And when I'm talking to people, and I could tell sometimes that they're not joyful, and I'm like, you need to find your joy. You need to find that. So super, super, super important. And you asked for 3, right? So one of the things that we're commissioned to do is to share. So my third one is, when you learn something, share it with others. Help someone, like, you're supposed to pull the person behind you. Like, I'm an expert up until the point where I am, but there's someone ahead of me and there's someone behind me. So the people behind me, I can help as the expert, and I'm supposed to help them come up because someone was helping me. I didn't get here on my own. I didn't write these books on my own. People contributed to the books. And so everybody needs somebody. So share your information, help someone along the way. These are important things that we have to do. And it's so, just like I said, that last book about testimonies, I testify on purpose, because that's what we're doing. We're sharing our knowledge of how, what life-changing events happened to us and how we overcame them.
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't need to have that experience to understand. You don't have to try everything. You could hear someone else's story and feel it, like, embody it. So those are my 3 nuggets.
Thank you. Love them.
You're welcome.
Yeah. And we're gonna be wrapping up soon, and I'm just gonna ask, what would be that one key message that you want to leave with our listeners tonight?
So I think it's still going to be on purpose. I think it's so important. And what I would like to do for everybody is to give you a free download. So I have an ebook on my site, and I would love you to read it, to give me comments on what you think of it, but more importantly, for you to live it and to find your purpose. Because, as I said before, without that, you're just going to go aimlessly. You really need to
Mhm,
know where it came from and think about it. And oftentimes we don't think about the things that affect our life.
mhm,
So be purposeful about it, think about it, pray about it, and discover your purpose, and then you'll have joy.
mhm. Totally agree. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for the gift,
Sure.
but also thank you for that message because my children know me and I'm all about customer service.
Mm.
And customer service is still about serving others, whatever industry, whatever product that you're sharing. And for me, there's nothing that pains me more than when I see somebody who, as you say, reach a certain stage in their life and they still lost as
Yes.
to what do I want? What
Mm.
matters to me? What legacy do I want to leave behind? Because in my mind, it's just like, what? So have you stopped at any given point in that journey to figure out, there's a reason why you on this earth? Have you figured out, even if you have kids, there's a reason. What are you trying to pass on? And this is the part where, as a society, because we often live into that rushed state, and that's something that we can say thank you to the pandemic for, is the making us stop and recheck our priorities. Because I think as a society, at least North America was very lost in terms of what are we trying to achieve. So thank
Mhm.
you for that message. And
Sure.
I totally support that key message. Find your purpose and do get to Alvina's website to get that information. And last question, how can people get in contact with you or hear about your future activities?
Well, I love to speak with everybody, but the best way to reach me would be through my website. So my website is authoralvinaryan.com. So www.authoralvinaryan.com. So authoralvinaryan.com.
So I would say we finish this conversation. When we go off the live, go get your copy. If you're one of those individual that is wondering what's next for me, why is it that I'm not happy, what's missing in my life, then go figure it out because it might be about your purpose and finding what are those gifts and talents that you're not using. Thank you very much, Alvina. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
My pleasure as well. Thank you so much for having me.